Hi, I'm Severo from HoRNet Plugins, and today I'm here because I want to show you our latest plugin, and it's called the HoRNet Samp. Samp is an acronym and is for Spatial Audio Master Processor because it's a plugin designed to work in the Dolby Atmos environment. As you probably know if you're watching this video, Dolby Atmos doesn't have a master bus because you can place every object in a 360-degree space. Since the latest version of Logic added Atmos by default, a lot of producers now has access to that technology, and we decided to create this plugin together with Antonio Porcelli, an Italian mixing engineer, to overcome one of the limitations of Atmos and the lack of the master bus. It's not actually a limitation, but we are so used to mix with stereo in mind that we want to add processing to every object at once, like we were able to do on the master bus. But I won't bother you with this chat anymore, and I will dig into the guy of the plugin, so I can show you how it works and the principle that drives it. So here is the main interface of the plugin. We have the classic 4 modules that you use on the master. So we have the equalizer, the compressor, clipper, and limiter. You can drag and rearrange the module order, and of course you can edit the parameters clicking on its tab. You can also bypass individually a module or bypass the whole plugin with this button. This sync here means that compressor and limiter release time and attack time are synced to the DAW tempo, so in this case it's 120 BPM. And if we don't want that because we don't have a given tempo, or we don't know the tempo of our song, we can disable the sync and we can have the standard attack and release time. And the equalizer is taken directly from our total EQ, so you have in this case up to 6 bands, and each band can be any kind of filter. We also added the tilt filter here because it's very useful on the master, and of course you have the saturation and analog button from Total EQ, so if you are curious about what they do, you should see the video about that plugin. We also have the dynamic option, so we can have dynamic filters. Also, compressor is taken directly from our sync pressor, so you have all the feature of sync pressor, almost all the feature of sync pressor. So you just have to have a look at that video to see how it works. But the main feature are the sync time, attack and release time, and the ability to work as a feedback compressor, and the RMS mode for the compressor, and a soft variable soft knee that can go from very hard to very soft, a ratio of course. We also have the clipper of Magnus and Key 2, and we have a soft clip enabled by default. And we have the limiter from Magnus and Key 2, and of course we don't have the auto release from Magnus, but we have a fixed release time, a variable release time, sorry, or a synced one. So you can choose the time using the release time using musical divisions. So this is the main processing. You can look at the video and the page description for each of the module of the relative plugin, and you find a lot more of information. The new part here is on the left here. So we have up to 160 instances available. This plugin can be placed on up 160 tracks. So it goes well beyond the Atmos limitation of 128. And the funny thing happens here. I have prepared a 2-track mix. It's just a kick and a snare, and I've chosen to make an Atmos mix in Logic, sorry. So I have my 3D panner on every track, and right now no track is enabled. They are grayed out for processing in Samp. So what happens is that the signal from track 2 or from track 1 passes through Samp, and it's actually modified because it's not bypassed, but we have no sidechain for compressor or limiter, because this button here that you can press to enable at once or enable all or none actually trigger the sidechain. So that means that if, like in this case, I have 1 and 2 enabled, the mono sum of track 1 and 2 is used as a sidechain for compressor and limiter. But the processing is actually applied, in this case, only to audio 2, to track number 2. So it's like having a master bus compressor, because we are triggering the compressing, the actually processing of the compressor on the audio of this track using the sidechain of the sum of the 2 tracks. I can, of course, enable and disable, as I show you. And every change I make in one plugin is reflected to the other. So I'll let you see, if I, for example, say that I want threshold at negative 20 dB, and I go now to track number 1 and I open my Samp instances here, I have negative 20 dB, because the settings are reflected to every instance. So you will have the same setting on every instance of the plugin, and of course the equalizer is applied equally to every track, and the compressor and limiter work with the sidechain given by the sum of the elements selected here. So of course, if I go with the mouse on the instance number, I get the track name, and it's read directly from Logic. If I change to track 1, and of course I have to close and open, I see track 1 now, and I can enable and disable it. So let's see how it works. You see, we have this small VU meter. They're actually peak meter that show you the level of each of the instances, and this input here in the compressor is the input from the track we are looking right now. This is the sidechain level, and it's the sum of these 2 tracks. If I disable one of the 2, the level changes. You see? So the same goes for the limiter and the clipper, and of course the equalizer. The spectrum shown here is the sum of these 2 tracks selected. If I disable both, I can't see anything. Sorry. But if I enable them, you see that we can see the spectrum from track number 2, for example, or from track number 1, but we work on a master-like experience, master bus-like experience, so I'll leave those 2 tracks enabled. Of course, I can cut the low frequency here, give some grit around here, some air, or I don't know, remove some of the muddiness, doing it randomly, add some lows, like this. Then I want to compress everything. I see the gain reduction applied to the whole track, so to the whole master bus. So this is the gain reduction of these two tracks summed together. If I disable one of them, of course the sidechain changes and the gain reduction changes too. So let me go back to the beginning of the track. Okay, starting once again. You see that it changes. We don't have gain reduction now, you see. Of course, we can change the input and output level for the instance. The same goes for the clipper. And for the limiter. Okay, we are limiting now. We also want to lower the limiter, the output, so we don't have the clips. And that's all. You have the master bus experience in Dolby Atmos, and it's something that it's only available from this plugin, and it's something that changes the way you approach Atmos mixes. Also, HoRNet Samp has an internal oversampling that it goes up to 4 times at 44,100 Hz, and it lowers itself until it has no oversampling at 192 kHz. So you don't have to care about oversampling. It always guarantees the highest possible precision and quality. So this was HoRNet Samp. It's available right now on www.hornetplugins.com. You can go there and try out the demo, and if you want, you can buy it. It's just $59.99, and of course, if you don't like it, we offer 15 days, 100% money back guarantee. So thank you very much for watching, and we're waiting for your feedback.